Welcome to the Armchair Fantasy Football Podcast. Here are your hosts, DJ Marcotte and John Soroyce. Enjoy the show.
Sid, I've got a question for you. We all know that you can bring the heavy offense, but there are a lot of skeptics that think that perhaps you can't take it, that you can't take the punishment that Diesel will give you tonight. How do you address those skeptics?
Well, the skeptics and all the people that have a little bit of... Let me do this again.
Oh, it's live, Hal.
Sorry.
In honor of John Soroyce in our live episode last week, that's our Psycho Sid mishap to go along with John's 5-4-3-2-1 mishap last week while we were live on Instagram and live on Facebook, which we are once again. Correct, guys?
Correct.
Andrew, how's everything going over there? Are we live and in living color?
Yes.
All right, Andrew, our live cameraman, and Caden is our not so live cameraman, our Memorex cameraman, as they used to say back in the day. We are the Armchair Fantasy Football Podcast. We are the Working Class Podcast, and we are the Blue Collar Ballers. I'm here with John Soroyce, myself, DJ Marcotte, and Tom Martell with another installment of the Armchair Fantasy Football Podcast. You can find us on Facebook at Armchair Fantasy Football, on Twitter at Armchair FF Pod. I'm on Twitter at Armchair Kingpin. John is on Twitter at John2977. Tom is not. You can email us, but you should be. You can email us at armchairfb@gmail.com. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Podbean, of course, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, everywhere you can find podcasts and where podcasts are hosts. And we're happy to be there for you. So today we're going to get into mock draft version 2, John, correct?
Correct.
All right. And it's going to be a PPR mock draft, 12 teams, 16-man roster, I believe. And we will, of course, randomize our draft spot live as we speak. We do not know where we're drafting right now at the moment. We will shortly. But before we get to that, John, I got a question to ask you guys.
Sure.
And that question is, and it's we've asked that question on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It's our Polling the Pod question for this episode. And that question is, and I'll start with you, John, who is your favorite player to ever own in fantasy football?
For me?
Yes, that's correct.
It was Le'Veon Bell.
And why?
Because I just, not only enjoyed watching him play, the other part of it was he helped me win a couple championships. And the worst, when we merged our league, I should say, or expanded our league.
So, yeah, explain that. Talk about that. What happened?
We went from 10 teams to 12 teams.
Correct.
We got rid of all keepers to be safe. And
we reset the keepers.
Yes.
So, unfortunately, we had all, this was 10 years, almost 10 years in, probably 9 years to be exact, and we reset keepers because it was the only fair thing to do if we were to expand the league, which was inevitable. So we did that. So you lost your keepers.
Correct.
And you started from scratch, right?
Correct.
As did everybody else.
And losing, and if you remember, who was the one person in the league pitching a fit about losing the keepers because I didn't want to get rid of Le'Veon Bell?
I don't know that there was only one person, Mr. Christian McCaffrey over here.
Alvin Kamara.
And Alvin Kamara. He might have something to say about that.
So, we were a couple of guys that didn't want it to happen.
That kind of worked out for you, though, in the long run. When you lost Le'Veon Bell, he kind of pooped the bed after that.
Well, he held out. He didn't play that year. So
right. So what was so fun about owning Le'Veon Bell?
Every week, the guy was putting up 20 to 30 points. Just, if it wasn't for the running the ball, he was in the passing game. He was just exciting to watch. He made his own moves in that backfield, his little pause step that he does, and then picks up 5-6 yards, or he'd beat you with 11 catches for 120 yards. He was just, watching him in his prime was just, I don't even know how to explain it. He just put up fantasy points everywhere. It didn't have to be all in rushing. It was in passing. It was receiving, everything. So he was just great to watch. One of my favorite players.
He was a points factory. He made, especially PPR points, he was a big factory, and he was selling them goods left and right, let me tell you. For me, it shouldn't be a shock to anybody.
It's just that I have this power.
Yes. Come on.
It is without question, and I only had him a year, but it is without question the absolute Say it with me, John. Undeniable Kavorka of Pat Mahomes. He is the Kavorka, man. This guy, his one season with me, I fell in love. I fell in love with Pat Mahomes, and I've fallen even deeper. Unfortunately, he's moved on to a new love in our keeper league, our league of record, and I regret it. I regret cheating on Pat Mahomes. Pat, I want you back. Ryan, I want him back. With that being said, the reason for that is simple. 383 completions, 580 attempts, 5,097 yards, 50 touchdowns and only 12 interceptions. You know, the guy scored 26 points per game in standard, and it was even more it wasn't even more in PPR because he didn't catch any passes, but 417.08 points for the season. Just incredible. And it was an honor and a privilege to have Pat Mahomes. I had Pat Mahomes, my son can confirm this, I danced an awful lot that year. And when a guy just scores and scores and scores and gets you pretty much 30 points every time he goes out on the field, it was exciting. It was fun. I fell in love, and I want him back. Ryan Heller, I'm coming for you, brother.
Wasn't his worst game like 26 fantasy points or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, in our league, we kind of incentivize. Well, this is the other thing. Our league incentivizes quarterbacks a little bit more than others, so we do a point for every 20 passing yards rather than 25. We do 6-point passing touchdowns, and we actually do a point for every 10 completions. So it was even more fun to own Pat Mahomes in that league. It's undeniable for me, my favorite player to ever own in fantasy, and probably ever throughout the rest of my fantasy career was the undeniable Kavorka Pat Mahomes. Tom, what about you?
I'm going to have to go with Marshawn Lynch from 2011 to 2014. He's beast mode, and it's beast mode for a reason. He just runs over people. He had 5,357 yards, 5,357 yards in 4 years, 56 touchdowns, and 1,091 yards receiving.
He was a beast.
Beast mode.
And it's fun, to have players like that just get your adrenaline pumping. At least it does for me, and it's it makes it so fun. And those are the players that don't bring the fall either. I'm sure all three of our guys, if we looked up the numbers, are very consistent throughout those seasons that we have them. So Marshawn Lynch for Tom, Pat Mahomes for myself. John, you went with Le'Veon Bell. What do you guys have out there, the listeners, for your favorite all-time fantasy player to own? We do have it out there on Instagram, Twitter, and on Facebook. If you want to answer that question, we'd love to hear from you. So, top 5 headlines.
Let's start with
the
news. Coach Jay Gruden wants offense coordinator Jay Gruden wants DJ Chark to spend more time in the slot, or spend his majority of his time in the slot for Jacksonville.
I like it because it feels like he would get targeted more, but I don't like it because that dude is a beast on the outside. He is an elite receiver on the outside, and I don't know how elite he is in the slot, but I think it would get him more targets, right, Tom?
Yeah, but he's, like you said, he's a beast on the outside. Is Minshew like the guys over the middle or not?
Yeah, exactly. I'm kind of the idea if it isn't broke, don't fix it. But anything that gets him more targets, and that doesn't mean he won't be lined up on the outside as well. So anything that gets DJ Chark on the field, I'm all about that action because I'm very, very high on him this year. I don't know if you guys are high on him or not. John?
I'm mixed. I think he's talented. It's the supporting cast I'm worried about.
Yeah, Tom?
It's Minshew. It's or bust.
Yeah. You think so? You think it's tied to Minshew? So let me ask you guys this, and I'll ask you as a personal question for me. There's going to be a point this summer in August where I'm picking, in all likelihood, between Terry McLaurin and DJ Chark. Tom, I'll start with you. Who would you take between the two?
Gotta go McLaurin, just for he's got the it factor as well.
He does, yeah. He certainly does. Tom, John?
I'd say McLovin. McLovin is he did what most rookies don't do, especially with 2 quarterbacks he had. The numbers he put up in a rookie season were phenomenal. It could have been better. I think he hasn't even tapped his potential yet there, and his competition is less there too.
I don't think Chark has tapped his either, and Chark's got that 3rd-year breakout coming too. So I'm a little bit higher right now as we speak on DJ Chark, but that could certainly change come August.
Marone scares me with the Jaguars.
Yeah.
And Gruden. Both of them do.
True. But right now it's Minshew and not much else. Yeah, so I don't know if there's anybody with the Glennon's there, but I don't imagine he's going to. Now, if they go ahead and sign Cam Newton, I'm probably going to go with McLaurin because he's definitely been proven with a multitude of trash quarterbacks. So imagine if they actually get a good one thrown to him. Anyway, let's continue.
Okay, next bit of news. New York Jets' Le'Veon Bell told ESPN's Jeremy Fowler that he can't wait to run behind the team's revamped offensive line.
We actually discussed this on the last, was it the last episode or the one before?
Last week.
Yeah, when we touched on Bell. I agree. They did definitely make improvements to that line. Unproven improvements. And I'm not convinced that they're big enough improvements for me to get excited to watch Bell run behind that line. Tom, what do you think?
Can't be any worse. He had a decent season, what they had. So
Yeah. I mean, he made the most of a bad situation, no doubt. Is that where you're at on that? You think sky's the limit this year with an improved line?
I think he can improve tremendously. They were one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL last year. Even if they went from 31st, 32nd to 20th would be a huge improvement. His numbers should improve across the board. And I think with certain departures that Darnold should get better. I can't see him not getting better with more protection.
No doubt.
So next bit of news, Indianapolis Colts Paris Campbell says he is 100% healthy.
Was he not last year? Well, yeah, no, he was banged up last year.
He was banged up a lot.
I like the outlook for Paris Campbell. I really, truly believe that he is the most tailor-made player on the offense, outside of maybe Naheem Hines, to what Phillip Rivers does and Phillip Rivers' skill set and the style that he likes to play. I'm very high on Campbell this year. I was high on Campbell last year, too, and that didn't work out. He was a rookie, though. He was banged up. I like his chances this year, John. I don't know where you're at on Campbell, but I like his chances.
Depending how Pittman develops, if he develops early or not, I think there's some mouths to feed there, and I'm not putting him totally out of the picture. I want to see more out of him during training camp to assess more. He does have a lot of talent to take over.
He's a yards after the catch type of guy.
Yeah, and they still have, T.Y. Hilton, they still got Doyle. Now you factor in new quarterback, new faces, new targets. Who's got the chemistry? Who doesn't have the chemistry?
And he's free at his current ADP. So.
Yes.
Are you interested in him at all, Tom?
I'm not sure. It's all what Phillip Rivers likes. If he wants to throw to him or Hilton or Doyle or...
Yeah, we're not quite sure yet what that is. What else you got, John?
Okay, Pittsburgh Steelers, Deontay Johnson played through a hernia last season, so...
And he was pretty good. I love Deontay Johnson. He's one of those wide receivers I'm really looking to get in the middle rounds. I don't know how long his ADP is probably going to rise come August. I know there's some... You're either a James Washington guy or a Deontay Johnson guy, it seems like. I personally love Johnson. I don't know about you guys. Jump right in.
Johnson looks great. I mean, I think believed in a couple leagues last year. I had Washington, and he burned me bad.
So. Yeah, he seems a little more feast or famine.
If Ben's back healthy, he likes throwing the ball to Juju, so...
Johnson reminds me a little bit of Brown, though. He's similar. He's cut from a similar cloth, but you're right. Juju's probably going to lead the team in targets, at least at the wide receiver position. But I do like Deontay Johnson.
Well, Ben can feed two mouths, though. So that should be interesting.
That's something that we probably shouldn't go down that road, Ben feeding mouths and stuff like that. Something he probably doesn't want to revisit, frankly.
Okay, last bit of news. Green Bay Packers Aaron Jones and the team are working on a contract extension.
Boo.
I don't buy it.
I don't know. Why did they draft A.J. Dillon? It just, nothing they're doing makes sense. Nothing. I don't understand what's going on in Green Bay. Tom, can you enlighten me? What's going on?
I actually like the move.
Do you really?
He's not going to get paid. He's not going to get the Le'Veon Bell money.
So get him at a cheaper price.
He's at a cheaper price. He's going to be the second back with Dillon next year.
But why draft Dillon? So you think he's going to be behind A.J. Dillon?
I think Dillon's going to be the first two downs, and Jones will be the third down back and spot him. Williams is out the door.
You think so? They like him, but I could definitely see that happening. And LaFleur does like to deploy multiple running backs. At least that's what he says. He didn't really do that much last year. But when Williams was on the field with Aaron Jones, he definitely still got, and in some cases, out-carried Jones. So, and now with Dillon in the mix.
It's a backfield I'm avoiding in fantasy.
Yeah.
Unless I get somebody like AJ late, but I don't think he's going to go late.
I don't want any of them.
I don't trust
You
him.
might sound like you're interested.
I don't want any either.
No, you're good. Yeah, we're all good. All right, speaking of all good, let's move on to one of our favorite things to do in the world, and that's draft. And we're going to do a mock draft today. This is mock draft version 2. We will be doing 4 to 5 of these, but probably just 4. About one a month up until draft season finally arrives, which we're all going to be very excited for. This mock draft that we're doing is a PPR draft. It is also, of course, a snake draft. And in addition to that, it is 12 teams. And we have for roster positions 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end, and 2 flex. You know what? I'm going to get fancy, and I'm going to switch that to 3 wide receivers and no flex. We're going to get nuts here. So it is a 16-team roster with 8 bench. Are you ready to randomize?
Go for it.
Let's go. Ooh. We always get horrible picks. I don't even want to know.
12th. Didn't we get 12th last time?
Yes, we did.
Yes. All right. Well, we're not doing 12th again. We're mixing this up, so we're going to randomize again. We're cheap. 12th again? What is going on here? 6th, right?
Perfect.
In the nice
right in the
cushy
middle.
center. Okay, we'll take that. How do you get 12 twice in a row? I should have had one of you guys roll that dice. All right, so we're going to start the draft, guys. We do have number 6 overall pick, PPR, 16 roster spots, 3 wide receivers, keep in mind, 2 running backs, a tight end, and a quarterback. And this may or may not surprise you guys, but the first players to go off the board. This is kind of surprising. Alvin Kamara went at the 102. Christian McCaffrey went at the 101. Saquon Barkley at the 103. Michael Thomas at the 104. And my man, Ezekiel Elliott, at the 105. So, we got Dalvin Cook sitting there. That's a good option. Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, and of course our friend Aaron Jones, Austin Eckler also available. So that's kind of the running backs that are right at the top of the list here. And as far as wide receivers, my man Devontae Adams, Julio Jones, DeAndre Hopkins, Tyreek Hill. And you could always get a little nuts, go Travis Kelce or George Kittle. So what position are you guys thinking first? I'm one of those guys that if you have a stud running back on the board, you take them. What do you guys think?
I agree. I'm eyeing Cook.
Every year is the same thing. Stud running back first.
And I think we all agree that the best one on the board right now is Dalvin Cook.
Correct.
So this pick is an easy one. So we're going to go ahead and draft Dalvin Cook. And here we go. Going to the next pick. So after Dalvin Cook, okay, sorry, I got to scroll here. After Dalvin Cook went Joe Mixon, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones, Tyreek Hill at the 112. And then in the second round, Kenyon Drake. I was hoping to get him in the second. Austin Eckler, DeAndre Hopkins, Nick Chubb, Miles Sanders, Julio Jones. So there we go. That is exactly why we take running backs first, because they go off the board pretty quickly. But I will tell you guys, there's also depth at the position too, because we're looking at still running backs on the board: Leonard Fournette, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Todd Gurley, Melvin Gordon, to name a few. And then, of course, the receivers are Chris Godwin, Allen Robinson, Kenny Golladay, and Mike Evans. And Travis Kelce is still on the board. So what are you guys thinking right now? And I can, if you want more names from different positions, let me know. Le'Veon Bell is still there. Jonathan Taylor. What do you think?
I'm thinking elite receiver, elite tight end at this point.
Okay.
I like the wide receiver.
I agree, and I'll tell you why. Because if we were to take a Kelce here, we're going to get, we're talking maybe a Cooper or a Beckham as our number 1 wide receiver. We can get Mark Andrews later on. I think Mark Andrews is the guy that we could go after in the 3rd, probably even 4th. Is there a thought to another running back here?
I think you get a drop off after this round in wide, like that tier right wide receiver, that top 2 tiers.
Yeah.
And I think Godwin sitting there, I think you have to take him with the potential of a PPR stud this year.
We could get Kareem Hunt later on. Just saying. All right, so I think we all agree wide receiver is the way to go here. Are we in agreement there?
Yes.
I agree.
So I'm going to tell you who I would like to pick out of the wide receivers available. And if you give me a second, I can rifle down through a bunch of them. But I decided to look at all the running backs, so that takes up a lot of the space on my screen. Chris Godwin, Allen Robinson, Mike Evans, Kenny Golladay, DJ Moore, Juju Smith-Schuster, Amari Cooper, Odell Beckham, Cooper Kupp, Adam Thielen, Keenan Allen, Robert Woods, Calvin Ridley. I'll stop there. I know you love Cortland Sutton, so I'll throw him in. One name stands off the page here for me. What do you guys think?
You said Godwin. I think Kenny Golladay.
That's the name that stood out. And I love Godwin, don't get me wrong, but I'm on the Golladay train, dude. I mean, I said, I'm not backing off what I said in our rankings episode. Kenny Golladay is going to be a stud wide receiver this year. And I'm talking top tier stud, barring injury. John, are you on the Kenny Golladay train? Would you rather have Godwin? Consistency at Robinson? There's a few options here.
Robinson's got great consistency, but the touchdown upside I don't think is there as much as it should be. Golladay has a high potential for a high touchdown upside, and has he really tapped his potential? He's been playing with backup quarterbacks. Godwin is a safe pick, I think, but if kind of throw some upside in there, I do like Golladay. I'm not against Golladay. I love Golladay.
For the record, this will hurt our score because 82% of experts agree Chris Godwin. But you look at what Golladay did. So first of all, Godwin's got a little competition. Gronk's in town, last I checked. Mike Evans. And you're looking at, they just drafted a pass-catching back in Vaughn. You got 2 other tight ends, so there's actually a lot of competition there. So to me, Kenny Golladay faces less competition. Their touchdown upside's about the same. Quarterback play, I would say, is about the same, but we know that Matt Stafford has great chemistry with Kenny Golladay. We don't know that about Chris Godwin and Tom Brady. So it sounds like it's another unanimous pick here. You thought we were going to have a rough time. The night is young, though. We got a lot of picks to go, but we're going to go with Kenny Golladay, right, fellas?
Yes.
Sounds good.
So, drafting Kenny Golladay. Oh, Chris Godwin went right after him, and then Travis Kelce. So, just rewind a little bit here. Kenny Golladay, then Chris Godwin, Travis Kelce, Leonard Fournette, Todd Gurley, Lamar Jackson at the 2-1-2. I would not do that if I were you guys. George Kittle at the 301. I would do that all day. Juju Smith-Schuster and the undeniable Kavorka of Pat Mahomes at the 303. Mike Evans, Adam Thielen. We are on the clock. Still some really good receivers here. Allen Robinson, DJ Moore, Odell Beckham, Amari Cooper is available. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is still there. So this is just my opinion. Do we take a Clyde Edwards-Helaire or a Le'Veon Bell and hope that Mark Andrews drops to us in the next round? That's my first question. My second question is Mark Andrews the type of guy we should be looking for in the 4th round, or are we going later on tight end? I don't like to wait on tight end.
I feel like the wide receiver and running back have more depth in the tight end position. I think after like the first 6 or 8, even in the first 5, the tight end position goes down. But Clyde Edwards-Helaire there is very, very interesting. I'm leaning towards Clyde, but that's me.
Over the player that you liked owning the most over your fantasy football career, Le'Veon Bell.
But that's the past.
Yes, that's correct.
It's now the present.
Just for argument's sake, Melvin Gordon's there. I wish I had my Flushing sound bite here, but Chris Carson is there. Le'Veon Bell, Jonathan Taylor, David Johnson, James Conner, Devin Singletary. Then kind of a drop-off after that running back. Allen Robinson is still there, guys. I mean, that's kind of a steal if you think about it. Cooper Kupp intrigues me as well with his touchdown upside. I'm cool with Edwards-Helaire. What do you think, Tom?
You gotta get the second running back now. Then we have 3 wide receivers on the 2 more wide receivers have to get, so we can go back to back unless Andrews is still on the board next round.
Yep. Okay, I'm cool with Cooper Kupp. So I'm not sorry. I really want Cooper Kupp. I'm cool with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. We all know that I love the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So let me select him. Hold, please. Talk amongst yourselves. What do you guys think of this pick? You're pairing him with Dalvin Cook.
You want to go, Tom, and I'll go after?
He's going to be the PPR guy over in Kansas City, and Cook's just a home run hitter.
The more I read about Clyde, the more I salivate, I guess is the word I want to use. Damian Williams has always basically played a backup role, can never play the full 16 games. Even when he is the starter, he can't hold on to the job. They didn't draft Clyde to watch Damian Williams run the ball. So to me, I think Clyde is going to make a huge impact.
I'm really sad. Although I love the pick of Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and I think it's a great pick. And in the 3rd round, that ain't going to be happening come draft season, just to let the listeners know. This dude's going to be at least a 2nd round ADP, so we got a good price on him. The bad news is after he went Melvin Gordon, DJ Moore, Cooper Kupp, Allen Robinson, and then Amari Cooper, Chris Carson, Odell Beckham, Zach Ertz, Le'Veon Bell, Mark Andrews.
Oh, we just missed him?
He went a few picks ahead of us, then A.J. Brown, Keenan Allen. So the good news is, tight end. I'm going to tell you guys a tight end that I think we can get late, maybe the 6th round, that could give us the same return as Mark Andrews. So I'm going to throw this name out there, and we're not going to pick him in this round. Let me tell me what you think about getting this guy a couple rounds away. Tyler Higbee. What do you guys think of that name?
I'm not a big fan, but
okay.
I am.
Too many mouths to feed argument?
I'd rather have Eric Ebron than Tyler Higbee right now.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
With
Hot take alert.
Ben likes the big tight end.
True. You're not lying. And then Heath Miller got a lot of touchdowns, in his day with Big Ben. So what about you on Higbee? Are you high on him?
I like Higbee. He came alive the last 5 or 6 games last year. Kind of took over the role from Gerald Everett, even with Everett coming back healthy. Higbee showed that he has great chemistry with Goff, and I think that he has a lot of potential, especially with Brandon Cooks out of the picture.
Okay, so we're not going to take tight end here, of course, but just trying to get the temperature of that and where we might take that position. I will say also another guy in the similar ADP range is Evan Ingram, and I think we all agree that he's got really huge upside, so he could be somebody we get a couple rounds down the road and be happy with at the tight end position.
But have a good backup.
Yeah.
He's going to get hurt.
Right. Agreed?
I agree with that.
All right. So, as for this pick in the 4th round, it sounds like we're going down the wide receiver path. And this is where we're going to disagree, I think. My pick here would be DJ Chark. I'm going to rifle off the names, though. But there's one guy that we might all agree on. So, Tom, I'm guessing your heart would be with Cortland Sutton out of this group. And John, Calvin Ridley also happens to be in this group. So we each have somebody that we like a lot. But there's also somebody that might be a compromise. And that's Robert Woods. But let me give you a few names here. Robert Woods, Calvin Ridley, Devontae Parker, Tyler Lockett, DJ Chark, T.Y. Hilton, no way, Stephon Diggs, and then DK, maybe a drop-off after that. So of those names, who would you like to have the most? Without compromise, if you were picking him for your own team, who would you take?
I'd pick Cortland Sutton if it was my own team, but I'm fine with Robert Woods.
Yeah. What about you?
Woods is like Robinson. He's just consistent. I think he should see an uptick in targets this year. Not a huge uptick, but Robert Woods is always consistent. He's one of, another favorite target of Goff's. I really want Ridley, but Woods I would not cry about. I mean, he's just a great addition to a team.
So what makes Woods different from Higbee for you, Tom?
Goff's liked him since he got there. Higbee's was 4 or 5 games at the end of the year.
They're compatible. They have a rapport. Exactly. But if you had a choice, who would you take for your team, Tom, of these guys? Because I think it's important to note that.
I'd take Colton Sutton.
He would take Sutton.
I would take Ridley.
And I would take Chark. And we're not going to take any of those guys because we got to agree on this. So we're going to take Robert Woods, but that's what's great is I think we can take an opportunity to give different opinions on who we would take and who we rank higher than other guys because we do not all agree on the same people. So we're going to draft Robert Woods. I was really surprised you didn't go with Devontae Parker there, Tom.
Oh, I didn't know he was there.
Oh, yeah. I must have skimmed over him. So bear with me. This is not as easy as you would think on a laptop. This is why I was trying to pawn it off on John here. But after we took Mr. Robert Woods, Mr. Consistency, David Johnson went next, then Calvin Ridley, then Austin Hooper. That's just an awful pick. 410, and the team name is Guns N' Rosens, so anybody that likes Josh Rosen, and then Terry McLaurin went at 411, which I think is a pretty good value for him. Then Cortland Sutton, Tom. So actually, that was a reach. If you look at the ADP, that was a reach for McLaurin because he wasn't really on our screen for that group of receivers. So anyway, McLaurin, Sutton, Tyler Lockett, Devontae Parker, sorry, Tom, DJ Chark, Jonathan Taylor, and Darren Waller. So I got mad about DJ Chark because he's gone, but let's remember, this is 3 wide receivers on this team. So while we have some good running backs, it's the receiver position has an extra roster slot, so we got to be careful with that. But we need a tight end too, and we kind of missed the boat on our guy. And Evan Ingram is there, but Tom, so is Hunter Henry.
Yeah.
This is a tough decision for you.
They're both always getting hurt.
Yeah.
I go with Ingram, and
You would go with Ingram, and we don't need to go tight end for the record. What do you think, John?
If I had to choose, are you asking between the two? Or are you just asking?
Preliminarily, yes, but then we'll move on to who's there for receiver.
I
and
love
running back.
Hunter Henry, you know that.
Yeah.
But I have to go with Evan Ingram.
So you'd rather have Ingram.
His upside, if he stays healthy, easily top 3. Easily.
So looking at the board, I think we can get just as good of a tight end in the next round. Maybe a step down, but I still think we would be in good shape. We have, who are our receivers right now? We have Robert Woods, right? Do we have anybody other than Robert Woods?
Yes.
right now?
yes,
Who's the other one? Help me out.
pick some second round.
Yeah, Kenny Golladay. So we have Kenny Golladay, touchdown guy. Robert Woods, safe guy. I want to go with a high upside guy right now. And there's 2 of them, and I'd like to fill that last starting wide receiver spot because I think tight ends, the difference isn't really high right now. There's not a guy that I would reach, and not necessarily reach for, but get now because I have to have this tight end or they're going to be gone. 2 guys I'm looking at, high upside guys, cannon for an arm quarterbacks. One's DK Metcalf, the other is Stephon Diggs. What do you guys think about that thought process of we've got a safe guy, we've got a guy that's going to get us touchdowns, let's get a home run hitter? What are your thoughts on that?
It's a risk, but it's a good risk. If I had to choose between out of the 2, I would rather go Metcalf. Metcalf kind of reminds me of an early, well, I shouldn't say early, but reminds me of Calvin Johnson a lot. And if he develops,
Less polished, probably. Yeah.
but he has that upside. I mean, look what he did as a rookie. What's he going to do in his second year with that chemistry with Russell Wilson now? But I think he's definitely going to get double-digit touchdowns this year.
Tom?
If the rumor mill is true right now, they're looking at Antonio Brown in Seattle.
This is true. Yes, I'm like stuttering because I'm like, no, you're going to kill the value of DK Metcalf. But maybe you'll make him a better value. So that plays a role in it. What about running back? James Conner's still there. Devin Singletary's still there. Mark Ingram, David Montgomery, my boy Kareem Hunt, just to name a few.
I love Devin Singletary. I think he's
I do too.
a top back.
We've got 3 receivers, right? No, we've got 2 receivers. So to me, it's either a receiver or a running back here. That's my take on it.
The bad thing, if you go receiver here, I still think that the receiver class is deep enough that you can fill that third position.
I was just going to ask that question.
After running back, I think if we wait, we're going to be looking maybe, at best, maybe a James White if he's still there.
Keyshawn Vaughn's ranked 36, by the way. He's like 12 spots down still. Just throwing that out there. But you guys are thinking Devin Singletary right now. Is that who you're thinking, John, or would you rather go James Conner, who might have a safer floor, but might not.
I don't trust Connor. Injuries, still not a full season. I like Montgomery. I don't think he's tapped his potential yet. The only scary part is Trubisky or...
I can't, in good conscience, take David Montgomery over Devin Singletary. The Buffalo's a running offense. They have a good offensive line. They have a running quarterback, which means, yes, he's going to take rushes away from Singletary, but at the same time, teams have to factor him in, and that could open stuff up for Singletary. Speaking of Buffalo, are we off the Stephon Diggs idea, or is that still a possibility? Tom kind of poo-pooed my DK Metcalf take with Antonio Brown. It ruined my day. But Diggs is still an option as well. But do we trust Josh Allen?
It's not even just Josh Allen. Different environment for Diggs. I don't know what he's going to do there. I don't know if he's used to the cold. I mean, playing in a dome and playing outside are two different things.
Yeah.
I would rather take the safe approach and not go Diggs.
So Singletary is our guy, it sounds like. Right?
Yes.
I
think Singletary is going to have a safe enough floor.
I didn't know if you guys passed out for a second there. So Devin Singletary. I love Devin Singletary. I got no problem with that. And guess what? He's our third running back. I mean, we're talking Dalvin Cook, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And just in case Clyde Edwards-Helaire might flop or bust, we got Devin Singletary, and we're happy with that too. So that's pretty cool. I'm happy with that. Next off the board is A.J. Green at the 507, then DK Metcalf, T.Y. Hilton, Dak Prescott, Stephon Diggs, Kyler Murray. We don't have a quarterback yet, by the way, guys. So I guess we're waiting quite a while because Russell Wilson's gone too. Jarvis Landry at 601, Russell Wilson at the 602, James Conner, Deebo Samuel, Deshaun Watson, Josh Allen. I'm not pulling the trigger on a quarterback because everybody I would have wanted at the top tier, I think, is gone.
I think we wait for no love, Dr. Jones.
Danny Dimes.
Well, let's balance him off with somebody that's a little safe as well. We do still have options. So speaking of options, tight end is a position that we need. And with 3 starting wide receiver spots, we probably want to go that route as well. I got good news for you guys, though. Hunter Henry and Evan Ingram are still on the board.
Evan Ingram.
All right. Do I get a say in this?
No.
Okay. I guess we're taking Evan Ingram. And like Tom said, we might want to balance that with an insurance policy later in the draft. I did not get Kareem Hunt, so I'm sad about that. And Brady's gone now, too. So Q Flowers. Who's Q Flowers? Quarterback. Quentin Flowers is off the board. I don't know how to tell you guys that. But let's go through the list here. What happened there? Julian Edelman at the 608, then David Montgomery, Brandon Cooks, Mike Gesicki, Mark Ingram, Tyler Boyd, Tom Brady, Marquise Brown, Kareem Hunt, and Quentin Flowers, who I don't even know if he has a team right now. Tom, can one of you guys look up Quentin Flowers, Matty Ice and Easy. This is a fake team, by the way. We're using Fantasy Pros for our mock draft, and someone just lost their damn mind and took Quentin Flowers. If that is who it is, Q Flowers.
He's on the Tampa Bay Vipers of the XFL.
Okay, then. Okay, so apparently somebody's really high on him getting a job. Was he good in the XFL?
I don't remember hearing much about him.
I'm so confused right now. Hunter Henry's still on the board. Let's move on from Quentin Flowers. But it might be a good idea to pick up a wide receiver. So let's take a look at what we've got at that spot.
Quentin Flowers is not even on a team.
No. Well, no, he was on the Tampa Bay Vipers.
Yeah, no, I checked to see if he's on a roster.
No, he's not. He's a free agent.
Wow.
So that's the drunk guy that's drunk drafting, apparently. And there's one in every crowd.
That's the reach.
Yeah, you could have got the guy off the waiver wire, for God's sakes. But what I like about that, though, is that guy exists in almost every league. That guy that just is takes a guy that's like, what are you doing? So let's talk wide receivers. Michael Gallup's still on the board. Will Fuller, Marvin Jones, Christian Kirk, John Brown. It's getting ugly, guys. Darius Slayton, I think we could get him later. Deontay Johnson, I think we can get him later. So right now, to me, it's Michael Gallup or you wait.
I agree. Gallup's there.
He's the last of the top, I don't want to say top tier, but there's a big teardrop after him, John. You're a Michael Gallup guy. I don't think I have to talk you into this.
Gallup. I think even with Lamb getting drafted, I don't think he's going to make a huge impact on Gallup this year. I think more next year possibly, but not this year. I could be totally wrong, and they could all feast.
Yeah. So we're drafting Michael Gallup.
I'm okay with that.
So think about our receivers, guys. Kenny Golladay, Robert Woods, Michael Gallup, and we still have running backs Dalvin Cook, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Devin Singletary. I like that. I like that assembly of talent, and we haven't really disagreed much yet. I want to disagree. I really do. We don't have a quarterback, though, and Matty Ice is still there.
Ooh.
So Matty Ice is a guy that we could get, and then afterwards pair with maybe a Daniel Jones later on. Daniel Jones is the 14th ranked quarterback, so we could get him maybe in the last round. I don't know if you guys want to risk that. I don't care if we get him either way. I'm interested in running back here because there is a big drop off, and there's a few good ones. James White, Cam Akers, Darius Guice, Tariq Cohen. There's one guy that stands out, but I'll keep going. Philip Lindsay, Sony Michel, Matt Breida, Keyshawn Vaughn, Kerryon Johnson, Jordan Howard, Damian Williams, and then after that it's a little iffy. And when I say that, that makes me think that we might want to take another running back here, giving us four solid options. And I think Keyshawn Vaughn stands out to me. But there's something to be said for the safety of Jordan Howard. And he's about the only one that's probably got a safe baseline. Kerryon Johnson's a little scary. What do you guys think of that group of running backs?
They're all second-tier guys. They're all the same. It's
you think so? You don't think that Keyshawn Vaughn could emerge as a viable fantasy option?
He could emerge, but he's down the list. The guys above him are probably going to get drafted before him right now.
So for me, when I look at this, John, I look at the guy that has the most upside, and that's Keyshawn Vaughn. Cam Akers has some upside as well. I don't see a Jordan Howard as a guy with upside. I don't see Darius Guice on the field. I don't see Sony Michel, Philip Lindsay. I don't see those guys with upside. The one guy that has a lot of upside to me is Keyshawn Vaughn. What do you think?
Vaughn's got to beat out Jones, which...
And Ronald Jones is there as well, just below Vaughn.
So for him to take the starting job is not as hard. Kerryon's now going to compete with DeAndre Swift. It could be a joint committee there. Rams have already said they're going to be a running back by committee. So Cam Akers, we don't know if he's going to be first, second, third there. I'd rather not take that chance. Sony without Tom Brady, we don't know how that is all going to work out there. Vaughn, I think, has the highest upside. I do like Jordan Howard. He has a 4.5 career average per yard. I mean, you know what I'm saying? 4.5 yards per average.
But we're not passionate about any of those guys. So is this where we take Matt Ryan and call it a day?
Yes, and see what comes up next round then.
Matt Ryan last year, I think, all but 2 games, maybe 3, he had 300 yards every game passing. You can't ask for more.
He's the 9th ranked quarterback overall, and the only one, not the only, he's the only one in the top 10 still left. And then after that, you're banking on Carson Wentz, Aaron Rodgers, Matt Stafford, and those guys all have question marks. Matt Ryan is as steady as they come on a high-powered offense. I agree. I think we go Matt Ryan here.
Yeah.
So we're going to take him. And now we finally have a quarterback. Which, it's always, you breathe easy when you finally get that off your chest. You know what I mean? We're late-round quarterback guys. I think all 3 of us in some way, shape, or fashion would rather just wait than spend an early pick on a quarterback. But when you can get a guy like Matt Ryan, as late as we did, that's pretty sweet. And I think that's one of those guys that I'm targeting in my actual fantasy drafts because he is such a good value. And he's a good value every year. I don't understand why, but he is. So let's talk about, did we talk about after Michael Gallup, Will Fuller, Justin Jefferson, Drew Brees, Christian Kirk, John Brown, Robbie Anderson, DeAndre Swift, Sterling Shepard, Marvin Jones, Raheem Mostert, sorry, John, Emmanuel Sanders, Anthony Miller, and then we just selected Matt Ryan, and then Henry Ruggs, Carson Wentz, Jamison Crowder, James White, Cam Akers, Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb, Keyshawn Vaughn just barely didn't make it, Damian Williams, and Ronald Jones. So, I'm thinking running back. That's a thought of mine. We talked about how we wanted to add a good backup tight end or another option. Ladies and gentlemen, Hunter Henry is still there.
He's still there?
He's still there.
You have to take him.
So do we just hope that Henry is on the field when Evan Ingram's not? Like, what do you think, Tom?
I'd take him right now. We talked about him 3 rounds ago. We wanted him.
Exactly. His ADP is 75, and we're in the 9th round right now. So let's just
right there.
Stop the drop and take Hunter Henry
and
here.
You pray they're both not out the same way.
Yeah, just hope that they offset each other. I mean, we had needs at other positions, but obviously Ingram is a good tight end without a need necessarily there. Tyler Higbee's still around, by the way, and I do kind of like him. But Hunter Henry to still be there, and a guy that could be the number. You said you think he'll be the number 1 option, Tom, on the team.
Taylor likes throwing the tight ends.
Why wouldn't you take him? So after Henry, Tariq Cohen, J.K. Dobbins. Oh no, Darius Slayton. I was really hoping he'd drop to the next round. Mike Williams, Philip Lindsay, Sony Michel, Alshon Jeffrey, Deontay Johnson, Darius Geis, Mecole Hardman, Rob Gronkowski, and then Matt Breida. We are on the clock. I'm a little disappointed. And then the sexy names are not really there, guys. I will tell you Jordan Howard's there. I will tell you Kerryon Johnson's there. And I will also tell you that wide receivers look pretty ugly. Golden Tate's there. Curtis Samuel's there. Sammy Watkins is there. This is how I would play this. I would take a running back, and I would probably take Jordan Howard because I think there's a level of safety to him. In the next round, I would reach for Daniel Jones because I want the guy, and if I want the guy, I'm going to reach for the guy. And then we just pick a bunch of wide receivers after that. That's the strategy that I would take. I don't know about you guys.
We have, 3 wide receivers right now?
We have 3. We have Gallup, we have Golladay, we have Woods. But are you that passionate about Golden Tate? Preston Williams is there too, and I know you guys are going to like him, but I feel his ADP is 132, so I feel like we can get him still.
Next round or a couple rounds.
Exactly, but I don't know if you guys want to risk that. I know you guys are both high on him.
We have 3 good wide receivers, so...
We're just looking for a bye-week fill-in. I think we can wait. The running backs after this round, I think, are going to drop off. I don't think you're going to get a decent running back.
So do you guys like Jordan Howard, or would you rather Kerryon Johnson, Marlon Mack, Latavius type of guy? I can give you other names if you like. Bear with me here. So looking at the running back position, guys, we have Tevin Coleman, Darrell Henderson. I don't like him. I know you do, Tom, or at least you think he's got the leg up on the starting job. Duke Johnson, Naheem Hines, Tony Pollard, Alexander Madison.
Ooh,
there's our handcuff.
Yes. I think we might have found our man. What do you guys think?
I'm okay with Madison because if Cook goes down, we have his backup and we're in good shape.
And it's a reach. But this is the type of guy that you reach for. You are adding an insurance policy to your stud running back who happens to get hurt all the time. You agree?
I 100% agree.
I agree.
All right, let's do it. Up against the wall, Alexander Madison. We're handcuffing you. All right, so Madison is off the board. Oh, and Golden Tate just went. Sorry, guys. And I would be happy with these running backs and just Alexander Madison's our last one. We probably should draft one more, and we do have the bench spots for it. But, I mean, think about, if we feel like we're a little weaker at receiver, you just draft a ton of receivers, and you're going to find waiver wire gems at the running back position. It's going to happen. So let's go to where we stand after we picked Madison. Golden Tate, as I said, went, and then Jalen Reagor, which I'm passing on most wide receivers on Philly. Alan Lazard, LaVisca Cheron, Kerryon Johnson, Preston Williams, sorry guys.
Oh.
Antonio Gibson, another guy you could get as a running back that could pop. Tevin Coleman, Jordan Howard, and then Darrell Henderson. I mean, Marlon Mack's there. I just think Jonathan Taylor's going to steamroll him this year.
Mack has no PPR upside. The question is, I don't know if we can wait an extra round, but is McFarland still there for Pittsburgh?
Let me look into that. Give me a second, guys. Because McFarland would be a great option. I'd be surprised if he's still there, but he might be. Wow. Not only is he still there, but he's way down the list. So that's a possibility. Boston Scott, Zach Moss, Justin Jackson, Chase Edmonds, Jamal Williams, A.J. Dillon, Rashad Penny. It's pretty slim pickings here. I mean, I think we can wait on Anthony McFarland if that's a guy that you want.
Or the, I can't think of his name off the top of my head, the guy for the Chargers there they drafted.
I think he's gone, and that's Josh Kelly, by the way.
Thank you.
And
I can't remember his name to save my life.
I think he's I actually like Joshua Kelly a lot. Maybe he's not gone. Jalen Richard, Anthony McFarland. Joshua Kelly is still there. So yeah, that's a guy I'm comfy going with too, because I'm just not a believer in Justin Jackson. What do you think of those two guys, Justin Jackson, Josh Kelly? Which one would you rather have, Tom?
I'd rather have Kelly.
Yeah, I agree with you. So are we just going to kind of steer away from the wide receiver position, the running back position here?
They're far enough down the list where we have...
Or do we want to take...
So do we want to go get our guy?
I think we get Jones.
Get Jones now, then worry about those guys
You really
later.
like this stuff.
I love Jones.
Okay. And you know what? It's a reach. And yeah, Daniel Jones might have gone undrafted. But I'm going to tell you guys, when you're passionate about somebody and you want them, go get them. Because it's going to be like a stake in your heart if you don't and somebody else swoops in there. We're believers in Daniel Jones as a late round quarterback. Talking about the 11th round here, 10th round, in that range, the 11th round. In 11th round, there's always one quarterback that dominates coming out of that round. So I'm pretty happy with Daniel Jones. And if he sucks, guess what?
We have Matty Ice.
We have Matt Ryan. And guess what? We just checked the box on the quarterback position. We're not going back to that well. Tom, I've seen you draft more than two, but we're not doing that today. All right. So with that being said, Dr. Jones, Sammy Watkins, Marlon Mack. We don't have to worry about making that decision. Latavius Murray, Tyler Higbee finally goes. Jonathan Williams, Hayden Hurst, Duke Johnson, Aaron Rodgers. How the mighty have fallen to the 12th round. We just picked Daniel Jones before Aaron Rodgers. I didn't realize Rodgers was still there. Wouldn't have made a difference to me. I still would have done it, right?
Jones has more upside than Rodgers this year.
I'm not touching Rodgers. Tony Pollard, hopefully for the Ezekiel Elliott owner. Matt Stafford, Jared Cook, Baker Mayfield, and we are up in the 12th round. We have 4 picks to go, guys. We're going to try to lightning round this a little bit. I'm going to tell you who I want. This is a steal if this guy pops. We need wide receivers. N'Keal Harry's still there. I love N'Keal Harry.
He was the best receiver in the draft last year.
He was the best receiver in the draft. Hollywood Brown went ahead of him. Doesn't mean Hollywood Brown is better than him. And I still think, John, you can wait and get Joshua Kelly or Anthony McFarland. I'm high on N'Keal Harry. And keep in mind, we only have the 3 starting receivers. Nothing else.
Then we need to take a chance and draft somebody that has a chance to pop.
And just to give you, I mean, Denzel Mims is there, Paris Campbell, Hunter Renfrow. They drafted a lot of wide receivers in Vegas. I'm worried for Hunter Renfrow and the piece of the pie that he might get. He makes me nervous. Again, this late in the draft, guys, we're talking 12th round. It's all upside, in my opinion, and the upside is with N'Keal Harry, I think.
Harry's has a red zone threat as where Campbell is more a PPR threat, I think. I don't think you're going to see a lot of touchdowns from Campbell. I think you'll see some reception, but we don't know the chemistry there with Rivers coming in. At least with Harry, was on the practice squad for a good majority last year and hurt. He probably has a good chemistry with Stidham. So
I hope you want him because I just took him.
Okay,
I took
all
N'Keal
good.
Harry. Oh, Joe Burrow just went after N'Keal Harry. That's interesting. So after N'Keal Harry, like I said, Joe Burrow, Ben Roethlisberger, Chase Claypool. That's an interest, but that's a high upside pick. That's a good pick this late in the draft. Tyrod Taylor, Michael Pittman, Boston Scott, T.J. Hawkinson, Nyheim Hines, Denzel Mims, Ryan Tannehill is our pick. We have built a good squad here. We can go in any direction. Keep in mind, Alexander Madison's our 4th running back. So maybe we go after Joshua Kelly or Zach Moss or who else did we mention? McFarland. Let me read you guys a list of, or we could always go Devonta Freeman and maybe he lands in a good spot, but that's kind of a gamble.
Yeah, he may sit out the season. I don't think we take a chance on that.
He could very well do that as well, and we've been there before with Le'Veon Bell, so we don't want to do that. But Zach Moss, Justin Jackson, Chase Edmonds, I'm never going to say that name. A.J. Dillon, Rashad Penny, Raquel Armstead, Darrington Evans, Anthony McFarland's there, and Joshua Kelly's there. To me, it's a 2-horse race between these two guys of who we pick in this round. Do you guys think maybe wide receiver, or are you thinking running back as well? And is there anybody other than those two that you're excited about?
I know he brought it up, so I'm going to ask the question. If
Rashad Penny interests me too, by the way.
If he's there or not. Is Antonio Brown available? Take that gamble if he signs with Seattle.
That could be the last pick, though.
I think it could, and I think you're going to start whistling past the running back graveyard if you pass again on a running back. Yeah, and I'm just going to remind you that our backup running back is a handcuff. Well, we have Singletary too, but
I'm okay.
I'm an Anthony McFarland. Dude, I could flip a coin on McFarland and Kelly. Where are you at on those guys?
I don't like McFarland, so I like Kelly.
Okay, I like McFarland, but I think he's still got competition there. The reason I like Kelly more, I think, is Justin Jackson. Yeah, they say he's their guy, but he's never really shown anything. And we don't know how Austin Eckler is going to be without Phillip Rivers. He could be a complete bomb, may not have that, the chemistry with Tyrod Taylor. I'd rather take the chance with Kelly. They drafted him for a reason. He's insurance, and I think he's the one that pops.
And Kelly is the only one that's got some size of the team. He's 5'10", 212 pounds, ran a 4.49 40, so not bad for his size. Played for Chip Kelly at UCLA. Over 1,000 yards the last 2 seasons. I like him a lot. And I do... The difference between the two, let's just be honest, is McFarland could take the lead role. Kelly's going to be in a timeshare no matter what. But McFarland could be too. He's not a big back. So I like the move with Kelly. I think it's a better selection. So we're happy with that. And he's our 5th running back. After we selected him, Jack Doyle, Jared Goff, Tyrell Williams. Why would anybody draft him? Noah Fant, D.D. Westbrook, Jonnu Smith. Great value there, guys. I'm telling you, 13th round Jonnu Smith.
Wow, Jonnu Smith.
And I'm telling you, he's going to pop this year. Another good value, Tom, you probably think is the first pick of the 14th round with Drew Lock. If you're going late round quarterback, you could do a lot worse than that. The baby killer, Adrian Peterson, Zach Moss, Chase Edmonds, Brashad Perriman, Dallas Goedert, and we are on the clock again. Rashad Penny is there. I really like that pick. Curtis Samuel, Deshaun Jackson, Hunter Renfrow, Paris Campbell are a few of the receivers. I really like Rashad Penny here in the second to last round.
Even with him possibly starting on the PUP list?
I'm going to assume he's starting on the PUP list. Are we going to need him in the first 6 weeks, though?
You can pick him up waiver wires later on.
I was just going to say.
I think he gets drafted here. I think he gets drafted here, but we could take that gamble. Justin Jackson's there, by the way, too, if you want to hedge your bets and just go with both of them, and one of them's going to be good. That's not actually a bad strategy this late in the draft, but I don't know.
4 wide receivers?
Yeah,
we have 4 wide receivers, though.
We need a wide out.
Curtis Samuel, Deshaun Jackson, Hunter Renfrow, Paris Campbell. Those guys are kind of at the top of the charts here. Let me look at who else is available, because I bet we'll find a diamond here. Come on. Larry Fitzgerald. I mean, is he the wide receiver 2 there? You could do a lot worse than that. He probably is.
Hopkins now.
James Washington, John Ross, Randall Cobb, Cole Beasley. I'm not liking it, but there is a guy that's interesting. Josh Reynolds is interesting.
For a fourth.
We're going to have a lot of Rams, though. Well, not a lot, but actually we won't have. We'll have Robert Woods. So if Robert Woods gets hurt,
we have Josh Reynolds.
Josh Reynolds takes a bigger role, so that's a possibility. Do we think T. Higgins is the man in Cincinnati? Cole Beasley, I'm telling you guys, I've owned him before. He doesn't give you a lot of value. I mean, he might give you 4 or 5 games where he's startable, if that. And that's a wing and a prayer. Paris Campbell has got some upside over there, potentially as the number 1 option for Phillip Rivers if they click together. Devin Funchess. And then it's just really bad after that, guys. So what do you think?
Paris Campbell, just for the upside factor on him.
I like Paris Campbell. Tom, are you in agreement there?
John.
John.
I'm not against it.
Hey, you guys take over this part next time.
If he's gonna play in the slot like they're saying he's 100% healthy, I think he's gonna do well.
Yeah, if it were me and this were my team, T. Higgins interests me. I do like Josh Reynolds, especially with the Robert Woods scenario. But I've been touting Paris Campbell for a long time, so we'll go ahead and draft him. I'm not opposed to that. And then we have one more pick after this. So this is where it gets fun. This is where you could go an Antonio Brown. This is where you could just go crazy upside and cross your fingers and, as I like to say, pucker your rear end. There's a lot here, guys, but I don't see... so let you guys talk about the team so far. Matt Ryan, Dalvin Cook, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Kenny Golladay, Robert Woods, Michael Gallup, Evan Ingram. Bench, Devin Singletary, Hunter Henry, Alexander Mattison, Daniel Jones, N'Keal Harry, Josh Kelly, Paris Campbell. So far, who do you think is our biggest reach and who do you think is our biggest bargain?
Henry was the biggest bargain.
Oh, by far.
Absolutely. It's not even close. Who do you think is our biggest reach?
By probably Daniel Jones, but just the way he is.
Dr. Jones, I agree with you. By the way, Antonio Brown is still available. His ECR is 281.
I say we take a chance.
Why
he signs,
not?
yeah.
Come out the end of the bench.
This is that gunslinging last pick mentality. So we're going to take Antonio Brown. Might hurt our score a little bit, just to warn you. So are you ready for this score?
Why not?
I can't. So they gave us a C. Daniel Jones hurt us, I will say that. So let's take a look at why. And I'm going to tell you guys, you really got to take these Fantasy Pro scores with a grain of salt this time of year. Because I'm telling you, I'm promising you, we're picking guys later than where they're going to go in actual fantasy drafts in August, and we're getting punished for it on the score here. So let's look at the team analysis. So here's an example. It says our weakest position is quarterback. We have Matt Ryan, who finishes in the top 5 every single year. You know what I mean? It says our strongest starting position is running back, which Dalvin Cook and Clyde Edwards-Helaire should be a nice tandem here. We ranked 4th at running back, 6th at tight end. We ranked 6th at tight end with Hunter Henry and Evan Ingram.
Top 10?
I know.
Probably because of injuries.
9th at quarterback and 10th at bench. So if we look at our roster, our draft analysis. So we're going to look at steals. What did it give us for steals? We got Hunter Henry was a steal for us in the 9th round. And then you can look up slight reaches. And for us, the slight reaches were N'Keal Harry was a slight reach for us. And then you can look at reach, just straight up reaches, y'all. And that was, Madison was a reach, so that hurt us there. Joshua Kelly allegedly was a reach, and Antonio Brown was a reach. Daniel Jones was not a reach.
Really?
But I think Antonio Brown, who had a 250 ADP, probably was a death blow on our score.
But
and then value picks, just real quick. For value picks for us, they did not give us any value picks at all. So I'm going to take a snapshot of this roster, and when it's an awesome roster at the end of the year, I'm going to send it to Fantasy Pros and tell them they can tell me how my you-know-what tastes. But no, we'll see how the next one goes. And again, as time goes on, and you guys are probably seeing this too, you're reaching for guys that you like a lot and you're getting a bad grade, whatever. Don't even worry about the grade. Look at the situation, look at upside, look at opportunity, look at all that fun stuff. So, just to recap, in the first round, Dalvin Cook. Second round, Kenny Golladay. Third round, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. 4th, Robert Woods. 5th, Devin Singletary. 6th, Evan Ingram. 7th, Michael Gallup. 8th, Matt Ryan. 9th, Hunter Henry. And taking 2 tight ends, they hate when you do that, and they don't like when you take 2 quarterbacks either. Alexander Mattison in the 10th. Dr. Jones in the 11th. N'Keal Harry in the 12th, Joshua Kelly in the 13th, Paris Campbell in the 14th, and Antonio Brown in the 15th. I look at all of these guys on this roster, and I see guys that could be in the 1 or 2 range at their position. Every single one of them, even Joshua Kelly. So I like that team. You guys like that team, obviously. We selected it.
I like it.
And we'll see how those guys do this year, and see if we can tell Fantasy Pros to pound sand. By the way, not a sponsor either. So, so that'll do it. Had fun with a mock draft, and we'll have more coming. The next episode that we have on the horizon, I believe, is 10 Things I Hate about fantasy football. So that should be interesting. We're going to air our grievances Festivus style on the next episode. So we'll see you guys then. And thank you for tuning in. And thank you for tuning in on Facebook Live, Instagram Live, all that fun stuff. We'll see you guys next time.
See you guys.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Armchair Fantasy Football Podcast. Thanks for supporting the show. Until next time.